Our next group of winners comes from Milliken Middle School. A hallmark of the teen years is becoming an individual. Or is it? Have you noticed?
You don't have to be influenced by things that don't appeal to you. You don't have to influence others with things that don't appeal to them.
Stop. Maybe he's right. Maybe this isn't me.
And I know this is not all of you.
He's right. I don't even know what this is. Yeah, I hate these guys.
Let's begin from today forward in an effort to discover who we really are.
Check these out, guys! Full body socks!
Oh my God!
Sorry, Chris.
Game On asks the question, do you know what your toys do behind closed doors?
Hey, my head, somebody get my head. Thank you. Game on.
What?
You forgot the napkins.
I need some help with my head.
The assignment. Take a historically accurate event and film it in the form of a spaghetti western. The result? The redemption of Alan Lyman.
Mental toughen your gun on you, Alan Lyman! Go on, get after him!
Go. Get your mother. Find a place to hide.
You promised. You promised you'd help.
I'd like to. I
can get your gun.
No, that's too dangerous.
Looking for this? So I gather. Hey!
Fine. Take me up north. Just let him go.
It's okay. You're safe now.
The new media category is indeed new. Some students and teachers prefer to use animation, stop motion, or flash to create a story. Here's this year's winning entry, The Portal. The student producers had to write their own narrative, creating characters, settings, and situations. Later, they used the 3D program Maya to model, design, and animate their cartoon. Now let's meet the teacher who heads up the new media program at Keene Middle School, Kirk Palayan.
Kurt, congratulations and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so very much again.
Now, I would imagine that teaching animation has to be a rather daunting process. So I wonder, how much time do you spend actually teaching the animation aspect of it versus plot and story development?
You know, Mr. Briceño, when I begin with the process, I tell the students that they're now in my animation studio. And having been in my animation studio, it means that they will go through the process of creating a cartoon, but the whole process. So when we begin, it's like a natural beginning of story. And so they have to develop their own stories first. And then we go through the process from there to then script writing. And then there's like a little instruction on how to do script writing, since there's lots of software out there. So once we do our script writing and it's been approved by the studio head, which is myself, we then go into character design. So it's like we sort of go in and it almost feels like it's like a natural melding of the process, so that by the time when we get to maquette work, which is like the clay model process of their characters and their storyboarding, then we've already in some way implemented the instruction of the 3D software, which is what they work on when they're creating their 3D cartoons. So I guess it wouldn't be that the time that I'm implementing to instruct how to use the software is a major portion. It's sort of like just naturally slides itself in throughout the instruction of the process.
It sounds like your students have to take on a lot of responsibility when doing these projects. I would imagine some of that has to be developed. Do you hear from any other teachers as far as the benefit that it's having in their other curricular areas? Is there an overlap or a benefit beyond just your program?
You know, I have to say that having spoken to my colleagues, that they say that my students are better suited to be able to meet up with those deadlines that they're given, to whether it's a deadline for a project in science or history, that they're able to find ways to manage their time properly. I think that that's something that I didn't realize I was teaching when I was in my class, but I realized, oh, yeah, that's what you're doing with the students, that you're allowing them to learn time management skills.
Well, Kurt, congratulations to you and your students, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Historic photographs and stick puppets are used in this student-produced video. Selma to Montgomery examines the 3 1965 civil rights marches, which contributed to the passage of the Voting Rights Act. A student's love of baseball paves the way for him to give back to his community.
My name is Cole Kronberg, and I think I found the champions. I had a bar mitzvah, and for my bar mitzvah, I had to think of a bar mitzvah project, which is giving back in the community. And my mom helped out with special needs kids playing baseball like 20 years ago.
So West Hills Champions is a division that was started by my 11-year-old son, who is now 14. He felt that everyone had a deserved to be able to play baseball regardless of your ability. So we have over 50 special needs kids matched up with 100 teen volunteers.
It is a league that is run by my parents and I. And we help special needs kids play baseball. And the goal is we just want them to be able to play the game like we were able to.
We focus on the ability instead of the disability.
It makes me feel thankful for what I have and my abilities to play baseball.
Producing a regularly scheduled high school newscast is the goal of El Camino Reality. Researching and writing news stories, plus being media and technology savvy, make this an excellent production.
There's a lot of confusion about recycling here at El Camino. Unaware of the procedure, many people just toss recyclables in the garbage can. Proper recycling is not only good for the environment, but for El Camino as well. Here's a step-by-step guide to help you do the right thing. As you've probably noticed, every classroom has 2 recycling bins, one for bottles and cans and one for paper. El Camino has also recently added blue recycling bins that are now scattered around campus. As each classroom bin fills, a student or TA should take the bin to the white dumpsters between the gym and the cafeteria. These are designated for recyclables only. Recycling is really easy. We encourage all of you to do it. For El Camino Reality, this is Abigail Osry.
Broadcast journalism requires getting the facts and using the video medium to tell a news story effectively. Those are the goals of our next guest, Kimberly Mesadilla.
Kimberly, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations on your Vic Awards.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So take us through the process of creating El Camino Reality from the beginning of the year towards the end of the year.
Yes, it is a process. Students are supposed to come to my class, which is called Digital Image Production, from either Journalism 1, one semester with me, or Film 1. And we assume then that they know something either about operating a camera and video editing or about journalism, preferably both. But I usually have to bring both groups up to speed. Doesn't take long though, because we want to produce a weekly show, starting as soon as we can at the beginning of the year. Generally by week 3, we're rolling. And I have lots of diagrams, on 3-point lighting and framing and all of that. We show examples as much as we can. And then they mostly learn by doing. Critiques are all done in group, so they can learn from that. We learn from each other's mistakes.
How does producing El Camino Reality help students improve in their writing skills?
Oh, tremendously. They have to get the point across very quickly. Writing for broadcast is quite different from writing for print, and extremely different from writing essays. So they have to be able to prioritize the information and have an interesting lead, transition between the sound bites, which is wonderfully helpful in their essays. Kids come back to me all the time and say, I can't believe how much working on the TV show helped me with my English class writing and my writing for other subject areas.
So let's move on to another Vic Award-winning production, the West Hills Championship biography. How did that production come about?
Oh, that was a wonderful story. Evan Tan had met a student who's struggling with brain cancer. Lovely kid. And found out that he volunteers for this group called West Hills Baseball that helps special needs kids play baseball where they might not because of certain limitations in Little League or T-ball. So he coaches, he's a buddy to these kids. And Evan came to me and said, aside from my documentary, this is a great story about West Hills Baseball. Can we cover that as a segment in the show? I said, absolutely. It's not just about El Camino, it's about the whole community. And it's a volunteer opportunity for a lot of students.
Kimberly, you mentioned that teachers from other curricular areas come to you and ask for students to help them in their production efforts. Do teachers ever come to you for advice? And if so, what advice do you share with those teachers who are not production teachers, who are thinking of incorporating that into their math or their science class?
I'm glad you asked that. I tell them not to be afraid of having to teach so much because the kids know a lot already. They have video cameras on their cell phones. And certainly not to worry that they don't have the right gear, because even the hands-free microphones that are on the earbuds that kids all have can be used as an external mic, as a lavalier essentially. So they really have the equipment, and they have a lot of the expertise already. They know their cameras. They know where to look up the tutorials online. So I say don't worry about it. The kids can almost self-teach with a few little lessons. They need to be told, for instance, to turn the camera sideways to get the proper aspect ratio. That's one thing they seem to forget. But other than that, they do quite well.
Well, Kimberly, thank you again for your time, and congratulations on your Vic Awards.
Thank you so much.